So Fatal Attractions messed up my little young head. That's why that was one of the first Marvel series that I covered, because it had a profound impact on me. Now, when it comes to Legion Quest, I didn't even read all of Legion Quest. Like, the stories that I covered, some of them I read for the first time when I started covering it. And all of like the spinoffs, like X Factor spinoff and Wolverine spinoff, like those called to me and I was reading it. And I was wondering why the hell they were ending the way they were ending. I didn't understand. And then I saw this cover and I was like, what in the hell's going on? Why is Magneto holding Professor Xavier? Why does Professor Xavier look dead? I thought Magneto was a vegetable. Like, I had questions, so I picked it up and I read this book and oh man, it was crazy. My name is Dorian. This is SEM Comics. We are continuing our coverage of Legion Quest with X-Men number 41. So the story starts off 20 years in the past in Israel, and our X-Men team that went back in time, which consists of Storm, Psylocke, Bishop, and Iceman, just got their memories back. And Storm's like, this can't be happening, as they're all looking up and they see Legion fighting Magneto. So Bishop's like, Storm, I hate to ask this, but I don't remember Professor Xavier telling us the story. And she goes, oh, you mean the story where he finds out about Magneto's powers because he's fighting his son in the past? He goes, yeah. And Psylocke's like, well, I'll try to locate this errors, Professor Xavier, to see if we can try to explain what's going on. And she can't locate him. So now they're wondering what happened to him. So then they go back to the hospital and Gabrielle is trying to help up Charles, you know, because Legion and Magneto has been wrecking shop. And Charles is trying to understand what the hell's going on. Gabrielle's like, I don't understand what's going on either, because he said that I'm his mother, and like, how's that my son? Like, he's almost my age. Like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. As they're looking up and they still see Magneto and Legion fighting. So finally Psylocke locates the professor. He's like, yeah, I can hear you. I apologize. This is only the second time I've talked to somebody telepathically who is like me. So Gabrielle's puzzled. She's like, who are you talking to? And Professor Xavier is like, I better make the decision now. So he goes to her and he puts her to sleep with her mind. It's like, it's best you not even see what the hell's about to happen. So Charles is like, who are you? And he just starts to be like amazed. He's like an Asian telepath that has a British accent, a giant of a man that's absorbing kinetic energy, another man who is liquid ice who's freezing the very air around us. Like, he was just shocked, amazed, and also kind of proud because he sees his kind and they're in like full effect. So then Storm comes down and he's like, I've met you before. It's like, I've read your mind before. But this is impossible because you're a grown woman, and the last time I saw you, you were a kid, and it wasn't that long ago. So then we cut to the present, and you got Charles talking to a holographic image of Lilandra, and she's explaining how the Mcron crystal is pretty much, there's like this crystallizing storm that's going around and it's taking out like star systems, and it's headed this way. And Professor Xavier still is like puzzled, like, how in the hell do events happen in the past that is causing this? And then he's also hurt because pretty much the world's coming to an end and he wants to be with her and he can't. So then you got Rogue and Gambit. They're looking on this situation. They're feeling sad for Charles, and we're also kind of happy because at least they're together when all this is going down. And then you see Archangel. He's flying around. He wants to be with Betty, but unfortunately she's in the past. So then he does the next best thing and he flies to Scott and Jean and asks them if he can be with them. And they're like, oh, of course, because what you're seeing right here is 3 of the original X-Men. So we go back to the past where obviously this is breaking news. So everybody's covering it and they're broadcasting around the world. So the news anchor is like, we haven't seen superpower individuals fight since the 6-Day War. You're going to have to do your research on that one. But I guess there was such a thing called the 6-Day War where Israel fought, I think it was Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. And I guess they wrote a comic book about it that had like individuals with superpowers involved. I don't know where that book is at. I don't even know where to begin to look for it, but it happened, I guess. So then we cut to Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse. And he's like, my geneticist, talking about Mr. Sinister, was wrong. he predicted that this would happen, but it's happening a lot sooner than what he thought it would. He's talking about his time to pretty much rule the age of apocalypse, which we will cover next. After this, we might take a little bit of break, but we're definitely going to cover age of apocalypse. The whole reason why we cover Legion Quest is to go into age of apocalypse, because this is what this leads to. So then we cut back to Magneto and Legion, and Legion's pretty much like, you're the reason why my father couldn't be a good dad and he couldn't do the things he do. You guys started off as friends, but your ideology pretty much made it to the point where he had to spend all of his time fighting you, and he couldn't do things like be a father to me. So Magneto's like, what are you talking about? And why do you keep calling me Magneto? Because he hasn't given himself that name yet. So Legion's like, you're good with your powers, but you're still learning them. Like, you can't defeat me. Because, and Legion did this on purpose. He went back in time. Like, even if Magneto wasn't a vegetable right now, if he was like normal, he wouldn't have even stepped up to Magneto, because Magneto 20 years later, that's a whole different Magneto. That's a whole different problem. And I know Legion is a Omega level mutant, but so is Magneto. So then Legion pretty much got Magneto wrapped up in something. And Magneto's like, you keep talking about like this promise of a dream. Like, I don't even know who your father is. And Legion starts talking. He's like, hold on, time out. That sounds like, but that's impossible. And Legion goes, Charles Xavier. And then Charles hears him say it. So Magneto looks like he's about to pass out. Storm goes in the air and catches Magneto. And she goes to Iceman, goes, Bobby, you gotta do something. So Bobby's like, I don't know if I can even do anything to this guy, but I guess I could try. So he goes next to Legion. Legion's like, oh, honey, I forgot you guys were even here. Come on, help me, Bobby. Let's go ahead and take down Magneto. And he's like, are you serious? Like, no, I'm not here to help you with Magneto. I'm here to stop you. And somehow, some way, he freezes Legion, like completely freezes Legion, like turns him into ice. Because this whole battlefield is littered with Omega level mutants. Storm is one, Iceman's one, Legion's one, Magneto's one. I mean, there's a lot of them. So the Iceman brings him down. He should let him drop, but he didn't. So now it seems like the battle's over. The X-Men won. Professor Xavier is still trying to wrap his head around exactly what's going on and how this is his son. So Psylocke can feel Legion, and she goes, it's not over. Everybody get back. And she goes to try to punch Legion, but he uses his mental powers and pretty much takes everybody down, melts himself, grabs Magneto, and is like, this is far from over. So again, Legion's like a broken record. He's pretty much, oh, this is your fault, Magneto, and so on and so forth. And I didn't have a childhood because of you, and so on and so forth. And then Magneto's like, well, how do you know that the things that you're doing right now isn't changing the person that I will become? So Legion kind of thinks about it for a second. He goes, I wish I can take that chance, but I cannot. And he grabs Magneto and he loads up his fist because he's about to hit him with like this psychic blast, almost the same thing that Psylocke does. So then Charles Xavier gets up, he calls out for Legion, and Legion is obviously not listening. Professor Xavier's like, this is wrong. I can't use my powers, because Legion scrambled his brain, so he does the only thing he can do. He runs in front and he takes the blast directly in the head that was meant for Magneto. So the Legion's like, what, father, daddy, this is impossible. You can't be dead, because if you're dead, that means, that's right, he was never born and he's gone. And so are the other X-Men, Storm, Psylocke, Iceman. The only one that stayed put was Bishop, because he's out of time. Now, how's that even work? I have no idea, and please don't ask me how this works. Because technically, you would think, like, no Professor Xavier, no Bishop timeline, but technically he's not there no more, and I don't know how it works, but he's still there. So the Magneto's like, Charles, you died to save me. Oh God, Charles. And then we start doing the rounds. I think we see a vegetized Magneto that's sitting on the throne because, you know, Charles Xavier shut down his mind and Fatal Attractions. Well, you know, Exodus, you know, he might be a lot of bad things, but he is loyal to the fault, even to a vegetable. But it doesn't matter because everybody is turned to crystal. They were on like Avalon or Asteroid M. We go to Earth. We see Scott, Jean, and Angel. They can see the storm coming. Rogue and Gambit see it too, and then they just kiss each other real quick as everybody is turned to crystal. Now, like I said, you see the whole Wolverine Sabretooth, where Wolverine and Sabretooth are fighting. I'll have a link to the description of that because we cover that. Now, I also remember X Factor and seeing Strong Guy. Whole reason why I even got that comic book is because he was fighting, and he's like Bishop. He kind of absorbs kinetic energy, but he absorbs it and he just gets bigger. Well, he got to the point where he absorbed too much energy and his heart couldn't take it, and he started to have a heart attack. And he's so big they couldn't give him CPR because of his muscles. Like it was crazy. I didn't want to know what happened, but Age of Apocalypse happened, so I didn't find out what the hell happened right away. Anyway, Age of Apocalypse is pretty much just about to happen, but you would think this series would end right here. It is not, because we got another man that's out of time, and that's Cable. So we got one more book to cover in Legion's Quest. We'll cover Cable, and then we'll get into Age of Apocalypse.